Why hello there YouTube and welcome to a tag video. I am Random Ross and this is the first tag that I've created in ages because I just fancied doing a tag, and this tag came to me whilst I was doing the favourite of the franchise tag. So this one is the favourite of the decades horror tag. So basically it's like the favourite of the franchise one, only I'd say you pick your favourite horror movie from each decade, from the 1920s all the way to the present. So here we go. Number one, the 1920s. I'm going to go with Nosferatu. The Phantom of the Opera almost made it at the top for this, but I'm going to go with Nosferatu because, I don't know, I just like the look of Count Orlok in that film, and it was probably the first on-screen vampire movie loosely based on Bram Stoker's Dracula. I don't think it's I'd say it's based on it. The film actually got banned, and Bram Stoker's widower actually filed like a lawsuit against it or something to get the film removed and destroyed. And there were some people that hung on to the film, and well, look where we are today with it. Yeah, I'm going to go with Nosferatu on that one. The 30s, I'm going to go with... The next one is the 1930s. I'm going to go with Dracula. Frankenstein, I would also honourably mention that. But I like, the 1931 Dracula with Bela Lugosi giving that performance, creating like the typical Dracula. I mean, before Bela Lugosi was in the role and did the film, he created like how we portray Dracula today with the Hungarian voice and, children of the night, what music they make. And it was the first ever horror movie with sound as well. Yeah. Next is the 1940s. I'm going to go with The Wolfman. The Wolfman, at first I have to admit, I found it a bit boring. But upon the second watch, I sort of gave it more of a chance and grew to like it. I mean, the effects haven't really stood the test of time in my opinion, but Lon Chaney Jr. does a great performance playing Larry Talbot and, the Wolfman in it. I mean, we've got the effects and that are better today, but back then, they were groundbreaking effects, but it's very cheap and tacky now, but it was the 40s. Okay, next is the 1950s, and I'm going to go with The Fly. The original Fly with Vincent Price. I do like the remake. I think the remake is one of those rare ones that do better than the original. The Fly. I'm going to go with that one. Next one is the 1960s. For me, it is Psycho. I would have almost said Night of the Living Dead, but Psycho for me, it was, people probably were shocked by the massive twist at the end and that infamous shower scene, and I like it. I mean, Hitchcock could have done the film in colour. He had the budget for it, but he wanted to do it black and white for an artistic-y feel, and I think it does work still in black and white. Anthony Perkins did a great job. It did that whole thing where they kill the main character off in the first half of the movie, which I don't think was ever done before until now. So, Psycho. Next is the 1970s. Now, this was a tough one because the 70s and 80s, I feel horror were in their prime, but I managed to break it down to one. Honourable mentions I would give to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Black Christmas and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But this one, I'm going to have to go with Halloween. Halloween, it started the horror genre. Well, it made its mark as the modern slasher. The stuff that were used in it are cliche today, but at the time nothing like that had been made. We did have a couple slashers before that, like Texas Chainsaw, Black Christmas and Psycho, but Halloween, who can forget the infamous Michael Myers? And this was just meant to be a cheap indie movie, but look where it is today. Hell, the franchise is still going today. That just shows how good it is. And now the 1980s. Again, this was a tough one, but I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. This is probably... Oh yeah, you can count sequels as well in this, if you think they're better than the predecessor. Friday the 13th up to now is my favourite in the series, followed by Part 4 and Part 3, Part 2. I don't know why I like Part 6, it's just the great soundtrack it has, Jason becoming undead, and I think it was the last decent one before the franchise started to go down in quality. Yeah, I'm going with Friday Part 6. Next is the 1990s, and for that one I am going with Scream. Scream, I've probably told everyone that knows me in this horror community, I lost my virginity to this film. It was my first real taste of horror, and I've been hooked on the genre ever since. It redefined the slasher genre, and was, directed by one of the finest horror masters in horror, Wes Craven, and was written by Kevin Williamson, except for the third film. But Scream is, who could forget that ghostly face of Ghostface? Okay, so next it is the 2000s, and for that one I'm going with Saw. Saw, because it started like the torture porn subgenre. It introduced us to James Wan, and yeah, it was a good film. Very somewhat original for its time. They did overdo it with the sequels. Saw 2, Saw 3 and Saw 4, and Saw the final chapter I'd say were good, but the original, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have them sequels. I love the twist at the end when we find out that Jigsaw was in the room with him the whole time playing dead. It was just mind-blowing when I first saw it, and my jaw just dropped, and yeah. I still get goosebumps when I hear that Saw theme and him getting up. And then we are in the current decade, the 10s. 2010s, and again, this wasn't an easy one because we've had a good decade of horrors, but I come down to one, and do you know what? I'm going to go with Get Out. Jordan Peele's Get Out. I did enjoy Us. I liked Us, but I didn't get the same feel of enjoyment I got from Get Out. And this won an award. Put Jordan Peele on the horror map. Because he was like a comedian for a while, and then he made he earned his place in horror with this film and Us, and yeah, there could be many others I could have gone with, like the Conjuring franchise, or Ouija or something, but no, I'm going with Get Out. So that is my favourite of the decades tag. So now I'm going to tag some people. So for this, I'm going to tag Jason at Horrific Nightmares. I'm going to tag Sean Patrick Erschen at the Horror Corner. I'm tagging Kweeny Todd too. And I'm also going to tag... let's see... I'm going to tag Jen's Reviews from the Grave, because I don't think I've tagged them ever, or her ever. And I'm going to also tag Rayanimator Reviews. I think that's enough for me to go on. So, yeah, because I want to leave some people for those guys to tag. So yeah, you guys are it. Answer how Sean would put it, answer the call. And yeah, so the tag, favourite horror of the decade. You can only pick one film, and like I said, it can be a sequel that's in that decade, or a prequel or whatever. It doesn't have to just be like the first installment or whatever from the whole series. From the decades, from the 1920s to the current one. So yeah, that's it for this tag. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and to hit that notification bell. All my social media links are down below in the description, so be sure to check all that out. And yeah, until next time, don't have nightmares.